Hi, hi, hi. Say that you'll remember. Oh, I will, because I have a good memory. Oh, 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 oh. Aha, aha, aha. You ever make love to that song? You know, you dance in September and it's innocent, but once you put it on to try and set the mood with a young lady, she's giggling at you for your coitus. I mean, more than she usually does. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Did I Stutter with comedian Drew Lynch. Here he is.
Have you ever had a dream that you had to do so much you could do anything?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Did I Stutter. I feel like I want to talk right at you and get right to the point. I'm direct. I'm trite. I'm derisive. Okay? I think I know two of those words, but I will tell you something else. I just got back from Portland, Oregon, not Maine. Portland, Oregon would destroy Portland, Maine in a fight, and I think they should. Pay-per-view Saturday. Final. Heavyweight. Portland versus Portland. East Coast, West Coast rivals, baby. That's who we sent. You know, New York thinks they're better than LA, and I can somewhat get on board with that. But we just sent the wrong representative. You understand? I want your Portland versus mine, okay? Because Portland, Maine, I've been there, and their biggest problem is that the seagulls eat too close to the cafes. When I was in Portland, Oregon this past weekend, I saw a dude eat a bird. It would not even be close. What would you rather deal with, a pigeon or a seagull? You know, what do you think? I think it's kind of pigeon. I feel like you both get the poops. Both are little, they're little heathens on with beaks. You know, seagulls are larger and louder, and they're white, so they feel so like better than everyone. You know, they're air. They're just like, they're pigeons are land, so they've never seen bodies of water, and seagulls are like, yeah, well traveled, and I find bits of license plate on the beach, and so I feel like I've traversed the lands of sands. You get it, okay? All right, I don't need to tell you guys, but let me tell you something else. Portland, Oregon was a beaut this past weekend. It really was. And before I get into that, let me give you a brief message from Drew Lynch tour schedule. I pulled it up just now. Why do I have 86 tabs open? I think I have problems with closure, I think. I don't know when this episode is going to drop, but I would already have been doing Lowell, Arkansas, so I'm not going to tell you that I'm in Lowell, Arkansas, but I was, and it was divine. I'll tell you, some of the best bowling alleys in the biz. I guess I'm trying to just foretell something. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, which is a province. Gay. Anyway, I'm in Royal Oak, Michigan. For 1 day only, 3 shows, 1 day, because I don't care about my mental health. That's why. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, I'll be at the Paramount Theater. Okay, can you say money? Not because of tickets, just because Paramount, I assume they've got the whole plus thing, and they've got their own lot out here. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I bet a seagull's been there. Modesto, California, in October. Glenside, PA. Pechogwe, New York. I don't know. Just go to drewlynch.com and get tickets, okay? It's a really cool website. I appear taller than I actually am because I don't show a lot of my lower half, okay? So I would say if you're like, man, I could really go see a tall comedian this weekend, and then you type me in and I pop up, and you're like, wow, that is a skyline of a man. And then you get tickets to my show and you come see me live, and you're like, you know what? I can almost look past the fact that he was not as tall as I hoped, because the show was just, it was like bottomless Fun Dip. You remember Fun Dip, and then you get to the bottom of it, and you're turning the thing inside out. You're turning the package inside out, and chopping up the stick that you used for the powder and snorting it. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to crush it over your cereal because you would like to get diabetes before your grandparents do for some reason. You remember that? Imagine flipping that bish inside out, and just trying to just piece together little bits of. Let me savor the rest of this recess. Bring me nostalgia from the mouth and type 2 diabetes. I can't remember which one's which. I don't know which one's hereditary. Whatever the fat one is, that's the diabetes I'm referring to. That's how you'll feel when you go to my show. Is just a brief body high and then tremendously sick. So Portland, Oregon was really fun. It's crazy out there because they legalized drugs. They legalized crime pretty much. It is the purge out there. I would say if you're planning to murder, and you happen to live in the greater Portland area, just like, go for it. Go for it. Do a Kickstarter or whatever, because it feels. I've never been like it's daylight out and I don't want to walk around. It was the first time I've been to Portland where there was no rain. And I just enjoyed it from inside my hotel room. I put my hand on the glass and I was like, maybe one day, but the streets are not safe for someone with my body type. I am a good runner, though. I'll tell you that much, okay? I see muggings in movies, and I'm always like, just give a juke. Just give a juke fake, and then diagonal your way down the alley. I mean, they can only get so many shots off, and if you're quick, And I know that's the same tactic that you use to run away from an alligator. You're supposed to run diagonally because they're stupid lizards. But I mean, I would be able to like, am I the only, like, maybe I've just never been face to face with, real loaded firearms in my near my face, I just don't want it to touch, I just don't know where it's been. That would be my thing. Just don't, where they do that thing where they put it near your head and you're like, give it, like that thing. Just don't touch, like, all right, the distance from 6 inches to my head and not is going to blow my brains out regardless. You don't need to get it closer and, okay, we're not doing open casket, but I would like to know that in the afterlife, I don't feel icky because I don't know the history of whose else's head you touched the front of that gun to, It's Matt Riff's birthday today. I said, happy birthday, Pistol Whip. That's what I sent to him because I just feel like, you want to get closer to someone, you say happy birthday. You want to get further away, you give him a call sign like Pistol Whip. And I was like, listen, Matt Riff, you and I are getting too close. We're getting intimate, really. So why don't I just go ahead and take the reins on this and give you a name that probably means it's not grounded in anything. There's no foundation. So I'm just gonna go with Pistol Whip. It was that or Sex Goddess, and we already know he's that. So I just said Pistol Whip. Happy birthday, Matt Riff. He was in Portland, Oregon just before I was. It was a week of anarchy because Matt Riff did shows and he sells out before he schedules them. It's the craziest thing. He's like, I might go to Portland. And then people are like, I bought tickets. I already bought. I spent all my money. I have it. So I'm in row C, and he's like, okay. I mean, yeah. I guess I have to go since they bought tickets prior to me announcing that I was going. He was there at Helium Comedy Club in Portland. The staff is so amazing there. They were so nice, but they had a bitch of a week. They had a bastard of a day. Man, I guess I get why people say bitch of a thing because it's so much quippier. But I wanted it to be kind of like I wasn't choosing. By the way, bitch knows no gender, all right? So if you're someone who's like, I don't like when people say bitch. Okay, bitch is just like, bitch, you're being a bitch. You're being a whiny bitch. Stop your bitching. You're a little bitchy bitch, okay? But Matt Riff was in Helium the few days before, and he did like 6 shows, and they all like sold out like crazy. And then we did our shows, and we had a sold out weekend as well. And I could not imagine being the staff. I used to work at a comedy club. Yep. Let me dust off my photo album and bring you back. Grandpa's got a story. I used to work at a comedy club, and I'm telling you, when it is sold out shows, I miss the commisery. I miss to be able to talk shit about audience members because we invite you to a place and we say, yeah, lower your expectations, release your inhibitions, just be yourself, let your hair down, and you have to get 2 drinks. You absolutely have to do that. There's no question. That is, you have to get drunk. You have to get drunk. Please don't drive home, but you must order 2 drinks. It's required. You have to do that, okay? So you will be looking at someone in the eyes and saying alcohol to them. Oh, what's that? You're 6 years sober? Well, you had a good run. It's a 2-drink minimum. And that's a minimum, okay? So we're kind of saying like, you know, which is funny because when you get pulled over for a DUI, it's like you don't even say, like 2 is like the maximum. If you say 2, they're like, get out of the car. So can we get comedy and the police on the same page, please? I mean, I back the blue, but I also back the Democratic blue as well. So, you know, all right, I've got my hands in many a fire, all right? Yeah. And yeah, I couldn't remember the term liberal. That's why that took me such a long time to say Democratic. But anyway, at any rate, I'm getting quite the hell off track. I miss commiserating because people show up and they get drunk, eat drinkies, and they think that they're still young enough to drink a Long Island, and you're not. You're not. You do not have the same liver, all right? Your liver and your kidney are kind of the same. That's what happens. That's what dying is. It's where all of your organs start to come together, and they're like, listen, we're downsizing. We just don't have the budget anymore. So, you know, pancreas, you're out. Kidneys, I guess we could keep you around. Adrenals, you don't need those. We're in a very modernized society. So, what, you get adrenaline from oh no, you saw a TikTok that triggered you? Release. You know, we're not running from tigers anymore. So we don't need those organs. You don't need your feet because diabetes took those. So yeah, it's just that's what dying is. It's just losing just appendages and limbs and organs. And I really can't remember what my point is. But I know when you come to a comedy club and you work as a waiter or as a ticket person, or even as a comic, you know, we all have our limits. And I think the limit sometimes is just like 3 shows in a day. We did 3 shows. We did 3 shows in one day. My day started at 3 p.m. And people came to that show, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like 3 p.m., what could we do? Like literally, you know when you go to a movie and it's daytime and then you come out of the movie and then it's nighttime? That did not happen for these people. They came out of the show after a 3 p.m. and were like, we could still go back to sleep and get up for our day. Anyway, the shows were helly fun, but I miss working it because I was hanging out with the staff and they're all, you know, they're talking about how they had to throw somebody out earlier and they had to, and then things got crazy on table 9 and then there was this lady and she needed her meds, but you know, I wasn't around and someone's quesadilla didn't show up. Do you remember the thick of restaurant drama? Restramament? Do you remember that? Because I do, and I miss it. I miss where it's like, hey, you know, you're all out of paper towels, and you're like, okay, but we're seating right now. And you're like, yeah, well, you should probably fix that bathroom. And you know that guy, you know he has a Yelp account. But so you go in, you put everything down, and then you go to fix the bathroom, you go put paper towels back in there, and then you got to pick up your drinks. Everything's all melted now. You go and give that to the freaking thing. And it's also different. It's different when you're working a comedy club, restaurant environment. It's different because you can't actually be that loud. You have to kind of be like, hey, sorry, here's your drink. Sorry, I know you're doing your show. Hey, I know you're doing it. Excuse me, you know. Hey, I know. Hi, I know you're listening to I know, like timing is everything, but you know what it's like to drop nachos for someone while a punchline hits? It's just, man, it's hard. It's a hard life working at a comedy club. And so we were there after all of the shows, and we just danced. People passed around drugs, and I did not partake because I have an addictive personality. That's exactly it. I don't want to become addicted to indicas, and then I sit around, and people are like, hey, what happened to Drew? Well, he discovered that there's no meaning for life. And people are like, what? And he's like, yeah. And he's talking about, you know, how his legs are cinder blocks and they feel like, you know, he feels like he wants to move somewhere inland. And people are like, what? But he's always been in LA. Yeah, I know, but he found weed, and so he thinks he's found God, but really it's just that he overeats now. Wow. So yeah, I don't really partake in the drugs or the drinkies. I read novels. Ever heard of them? Yeah, they're the kind without the pictures. That's me. I make the pictures in my head based off of the words. That is what a novel is. A novel is something that people pick up when they desperately are trying to suppress their demons, okay? When they know that they are frivolous as a human being. That is what a novel is. When a novel is someone who has a bedtime, okay? Because they turn into a werewolf after a certain hour. That's what a novel is, all right? A novel is for someone who talks to their cats. Do you understand that? Okay? I'm not talking about a graphic novel. That's for someone who has not had sex. I'm talking about a novel. That's someone who's had sex. They've seen the other side. They've seen the insides of themselves, like a package of Fun Dip that gets turned out and the sugar just falls to the ground. And you're like, well, this recess was a waste. They know that they have to suppress their extroverted nature because they are afraid that they will not be accepted. And they love to dream about vampires having sex with warlocks because there is so much more creativity in smut, and we visualize our own porn, and that is what makes us think we're better than people who naturally can just socialize. So I read books. I swear I did. I did. I swear I did. Almost every night, people were like, Drew, come out with us. Come on, let's go to a hero stand. Come on, let's get crazy. Let's see what the nightlife is like. I know what it's like. People are hitting crack pipes, and they're selling Reese's peanut butter cups that they lifted from a kid with a fundraiser. That's exactly what happened. I'm not interested in that. I like my hummus during the daytime, all right? And to be honest with you, I don't quite understand what a pita does. I genuinely, like, a piece of bread feels like you can put contents and then another piece of bread. A pita feels like it should be something that's opened, all right? You're a calzone with no personality. I'm not interested in, okay? All right? And plus, I don't trust lamb that's in thin cylinder-like shapes of like processed but somehow hand-sewn meat. I mean, it looks like a patch of dirt on a map. I don't trust lamb like that, okay? But somehow I under the right circumstances, I absolutely love it. It's during the daytime. That's my point. I think almost most foods are not nighttime foods, all right? And I'm not that guy. Not anymore. Where you remember you were like, you get it. You were like, hey, let's rage, let's drink. And then let's eat, and then we'll drink, and then we'll see what happens. I'm done with the see what happens. I'm done with it. No more. No more see what happens. I know what happens. I've seen what happened. I saw it. Every day I saw it, and I was like, this is what happens? And then I walk back to the hotel room, and the only difference is I didn't get to read a book in the meantime. Now I start to think about how cool the sheets are. Oh my God. I could have masturbated. I was so giddy. Sorry, I'm not a very sexual person, and so that's why you understand that I'm not very sexual. That's why I said that. I figured out that if I'm ever trying to divert the conversation to something sexual, it's because I find it to be silly. It's not because I'm an actual sexual person. Ask my wife. I'm like a plank. I'm like a divorcee's vision board. You know what I mean? She's like, I just want to finish my car payments. It's very, I'm modest. Okay, that's what I am. All right. So yeah, I'm not a let's go out and see what haps anymore. I don't want to see what's a haps. All right. I want to take nighttime naps. That's me. Daddy Drew is turned into full-on responsible dad, okay? And my wife gets me out of everything. That's the best part. She gets me out of every single thing. And she's not even there. People might think I'm a widower. That's how often my wife is not around but gets me out of things. And when she passes, sorry, Mel, when she passes in 140 years from now, because she has the immune system of a feral raccoon, where you're just like, how is that thing still alive? It's been in my family for 3 generations. Good digging through our trash. When she passes, I will still be saying things like, I wish I could, but my wife has getting me out of... You don't even have to say much after that, you know? Oh, sorry, she's on a different time zone, so my wife is... I love that. You know, that awkward pause where someone's talking to you and they're trying to size you up, you know, trying to see what your sexual timber is. They're trying to feel the energy of your libido. No more. I cut that shit down, all right? Just like the first circumcision I ever had. I snip it right out. I'm like, nope, sorry. My wife is actually gonna rub my feet later. Yeah. In the same sentence, I reject you and make you not attracted to me anymore. That's how much I respect the institutions of marriage. What's that? Oh, you guys are going to go to a strip club? Oh, I wish I could, but I have a mole and it's just only my wife can look at it. Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It takes me real quick to turn you off, all right? It's not like one of those microwaves that beeps for a while and lets you know that it's not as turned on, but it's still like kind of letting you know that there's, I'm still around, not me. I shut that shit down. I go, oh yeah, no, I'm going to go, sorry. I got a nighttime bike ride tandem with my wife. And here's the thing. I don't even love my wife that much. I just like... I just like my time. That's it. That's all it is. And that's reasonable. I just like my time more than I love my wife. That's it. And it's not that I don't love my wife. I do. I just like my time more. And if I had to marry someone to get a solid excuse to give me my time back, oh, that is a bet. Sign me up. I'll put my legal name down. I don't give a shit. I will sign it in cursive and then give that second line underneath where I write it in regular. And I'm like, yeah, that's what's up above there. Yeah, I've got a bit of a splashy signature. You can't tell. But underneath, here you go. I transcribed it for you. That's exactly who my name is and whom I married. Uh-huh. Oh, what's that? You need me to get into a tuxedo and invite all my friends and family and write down some vows and hike a mountain and pay a caterer? Yeah. Oh, I'll do all that to get my time back. Absolutely. Yes, I will. Oh, yeah. Yep. I, the Andrew doth Lynch, take said perfect wife to give me my time back. I mean, to give me in sickness and in the quiet of my underneath the blanket, reading with a flashlight, spooky stories. I just want to read. That's it. I just want to read. That's all. You ever show up to a bookstore and you see other people there and you're like, fuck you, dudes. Get out. You don't have the thirst for knowledge like I do. I'm competitive. Like, literally, that's how competitive but inadequate I am. I'm so competitive that I couldn't do sports, so I was like, well, I'll just work on my brain then. And then when I show up to a book, then I'm like the bully of the library. I'm the libra bully. I'm a libra. I don't care. I'm not wasting time with wordplay right now. This is serious. Get out of the nonfiction. Get out of the political science section. Get out. No, stop. Global warming isn't real. Fuck off. Get out of here. All right? Yeah, I read Oprah's second autobiography. It's not as good. I get it. She's like a cat. She's had so many lives. She needs to tell them many times in a book. Get out, though. Move on. You bet. Get to the counter of the bookstore and buy yourself a candy bar and leave whatever stupid book you thought you were going to read on the ground. Take 5 steps back and find your car and get the hell out of here. If I ever see your face here again, it better not be through a bookshelf. It better be a memorial service poster because you got sad that you had to find your information from the internet like most children do now. But I am an old soul, okay? And I read books. Do you get me? I'll read books. Here's the thing. Here's how much I'll read a book. I will show up at a bookstore before the coffee staff gets there. Do you get me? I show up, I'm sitting in the seat, and I make people's day. I make people feel frazzled at the bookstore. Okay, that's how smart I would like to think I am from reading books, but not really that smart, because a lot of it is just, it's not a very high reading level. People show up to make lattes, and I'm already there, sitting in the coffee shop that's inside of the bookshop, inside of the bookstore. Okay? And people are like, "Oh, geez, are we late?" No, it's just, why is there some guy here? There's some guy already here. And they have to like quickly like whip up a thing, and they're making all kinds of noises and they're mopping up and getting the register, counting their pennies. Yeah. And then I don't even get a coffee. I walk out. I walk over to the book side of the store, and I'm like, "Yeah, just trying to get you. There's your shot of caffeine. It was me." It was the imperceptible concept that the customer, it's the inconceivable notion that the customer is always right and that you need to be prepared and you're off your game. Yeah, I learned that in the psychology section of the bookstore. I motivate with my presence, and I shut people down. Whatever your traumas are, find something else. Try lacrosse. Try rock climb. Go do something else. Explore your life. But the bookstore is my domain, okay? All right? Okay? I don't drink. I don't do the druggies. I don't paddleboard. I don't know what else people do. I have no idea. You want to know why? Because I read books. I have no idea. I have to read. When I want a dose of reality, I wander into the nonfiction section. That's what I do. And I'm like, oh, I guess that was a real figure. Okay? That's where I get my news. Not from the internet. No. I wait for a publisher to look over someone else's words, and someone else comes in, and you get like, and it's a foreword written by Jada Pinkett Smith or something, and you're like, that's strange. I didn't think she knew that much about Reagan. Yeah, and then you read it, and you're like, damn, that's wow. I didn't know that about that political era. That's crazy. Wow, he was kind of left-leaning. Stuff like that. Okay? Stuff like that. So if you're there with your kid at the bookstore and you're trying to educate your kid, that's fine. I'm all for the development of the youth. But you better get him out in sports soon, because this is Dad's domain, all right? I know these shelves. I know. What's that? You just pulled a book off the shelf? Well, there's my eyes. There are the specks of a wolf peeping at you, saying, I wouldn't. I'd put it back. I'd put it back, and then I'd put your back not to me, because don't ever turn around on the cheetah. I'm a cheetah wolf. I'm a wolf eyes cheetah sort of hippo hybrid. They're very dangerous in Africa. Actually, probably the most dangerous, other than malaria. Yeah. How does he know that? What? How does he know that? How does he know what's going on? Does he know what's going on with North Korea? Yeah. Yeah, he does. It seems like he does. It seems like they're sealing up the border. And at the rate at which people can escape, either through Russia or China, no, not as much. Those are allies with North Korea. So the numbers have really gone down since Kim Jong-un took over. Okay? He's really cracked down on people escaping. Totalitarian state. It's crazy, man. Escape through South Korea, they're malaligned, but in the right way. It's crazy. We've got two different Koreas, and they're not even able to be. Think about the North and South Korea. They're not friends. How do we solve this? Let's think outside the box here. Well, here's what I think we do. We find an East and a West Korea. What's that? What's on the East and the West of the Koreas? It's the rest of the world. We come together and we just keep competing in the Olympics and beating their asses. I think that's the best way we can pretty much. I think that's how we do it. I think we publicly shame whatever North Korea is doing, and then when South Korea is in the Olympics, we just keep beating them. So we also make North Korea feel better. That's the best that we can do as a society, as East Korea and West Korea. That's what we can do. Okay? I think if we send people to Portland, I think if we send people from Portland to North Korea, we'll clean it out. It'd be like a juice cleanse. People from Portland, that is where, I'm all for reform, but I'm just saying, most of the shows that are filmed on AMC are in Portland, and there's your answer. So maybe I've said too much, but if you're in my bookstore, get out, okay? One time I was glaring at this guy who was in the same aisle as me, gave one of those, gave one like a snap of the book like that. And, sorry, I hear the dog barking downstairs. Just give a little snap of the book. And I was like, hey, man, did you fart? And he was like, what? No. And I was like, oh, because it's weird because it just smells like fart around here. Someone's stinking up my aisles. And then that guy was like, oh, sorry. No, I was just, okay. And then when I knew I had him on his back foot, I hit him with the right hook. And I was like, hey, man, do you want to go to a strip club? And he was like, oh, no, I can't. I have because my wife, sorry, I got to get out of here. And then he leaves and went home to his fake wife because that guy is me. That's how I was able to exploit his weaknesses. Except my wife is real. And she probably is not going to be happy about a lot of the stuff that I said. But you know something? That's a risk as an artist and as a person who is not cool. Sometimes you just got to lean into that. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Maybe you can see it here on the camera, but there's quite a bit of nostril flaring going on right now. That is how intense I get about how uncool I am. I'm sorry, I had quinoa for breakfast. Oh, God, that just came up. Oh, gosh, it's like tiny boba. I hung out with some young comedians, some older. Actually, I think they're all older than me. But they're young guns. They're young. You know? They're young. They're getting the back of their knees wet with sweat. You know what I mean? Putting a little bit of perspiration into their inspiration. That's what I love. Hanging out with my boy Isaac Abrams, Keon Poley, and Akeem Hoyt Charles. That's one person, by the way. There's no black people in Portland. I asked, and then I surveyed. And so I was like, you know what? I'll bring my own. That feels right. So, hung out with them. The last night that we were there, we were all hungry for Chinese food. Because when you're with a group of people, you have one collective stomach. And you go, are we hungry? And then some people go like, yeah. And you can never tell. Some people are lying because they're really hungry. And some people are lying because they want to be social and they're not at all. But they'll eat. They'll put on a few extra pounds just to try and seem liked. And I'm not talking about me. What? So when you ask, anybody hungry? Yeah. The answer is always the same. I could eat. That's nice. What a first installment of a country. What first world development we have where we are just able to say, I could. I could. I probably could. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll order it. Slide it into the trash. Maybe I could, because I could do that. I can and I will. I don't care about food. I had it yesterday and earlier today. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes when it comes to hanging out with dudes. When you hang out with a chick and you're like, are you hungry? She's like, I am starving. And then you don't eat. So that sucks. That is wildly misleading. And I don't want to sound racist, but I think collectively women are psychopaths. That's what I think. So the thing about eating with dudes is it's pretty easy. You guys are like, how are we feeling? What are we feeling? I'm gonna go for Chinese. So we did. We went for Chinese. We went for the fine china. Okay. And we wandered into this place that was a Chinese restaurant open at midnight on a Sunday because Portland lives in an anarchist system, okay? It is anarchy. There's no hours. There's no rules, really. There's no government. We walk in, there is a guy in a glitter red top hat and a scarf and a jacket who was not Michael Jackson singing on stage. By the way, there was a stage, and you're goddamn right. It was karaokes. It was the karaokes here to say, hey, I know you think comedy is your calling, but here are 3 drunks and a tone-deaf DJ who still thinks they have a shot to tell you that your life is meant to be lived paradoxically, okay? You are the Batman of this particular vocation. Comedy at night, karaoke by early morning. Okay? Day job, and then fighting the crimes of sweet, sweet melody and poetic musical symmetry that exploits justice through expression. And it is your job to sing it into a $38 sound system. And we have a disco light from the 90s that we bought in an auction from a bowling alley that got foreclosed. That is what a karaoke place is. And we did it. We did it, and we milked every little dumpling for what it was worth. That's me making a reference on the food, not the employees. The employees were not, they were very much white. There is no diversity in Portland. I cannot stress this enough. I think it was a casino. It was a very, very small, there were gamblers. I was like, did we cross the border? Are we in a different place? Are we on a reservation? Where is this? Did we stumble into a Koch brothers film? Where are we right now? No Country for Middle-Aged Comedians? What is this? There's the slots on the left. We walk in, there's a bar that's right in front of you, and we walk in, she goes, by the way, we do Chinese food, and we're like, okay. I couldn't hear you because there's the sound of a karaoke over to the right. I don't know square footage, but this felt like a maybe the size of a backyard in Illinois. All right, a Midwest backyard. That's what I would call it. That's what it was. Not very big. Not even. I'm gonna say like a Jersey backyard, a backyard in Jersey in the Garden State. That's what I would say. We're like, man, this is like East Coast. There's not. I mean, there's space that you wouldn't have in New York, but not really like, not Midwest kind of space. That's the size of this place. And we did karaoke. Me, my boy Akeem, my boy Keon, and then my friend Isaac. You figure out who the black ones are. And we sang our hearts out. Literally, I sang louder than the people who were on stage. I want them to know how much I support them, and that we're all in this literally, like what are we doing? Why are we doing this? Okay? You have to sing your way to joy. That's what karaoke is. You're very sad. You're very sad, but you leave that outside. When you come to Kung Pao's karaoke casino extravaganza, you become a different person. You have to, in order to survive in an environment where depression is in the corners of the room. But let me tell you, you find pockets of brief, fleeting joy, and that, my friend, is usually where the lighting is, in like where you're able to be lit, because the lighting is not very good either at that place. I had a flight today. I had a flight out at 8 a.m. and I decided to stay up and do karaoke and eat stir-fried rice. And it was maybe the best decision I've ever made on a Sunday. What a long day. Football's back. I've been watching football. Been watching it. We were at a sports bar on the same day. The same day we were at a sports bar, and you get that, you have to call. You wake up and you call a lot of these places, and you're like, hey, I know you're a sports bar, but just checking, do you have sports? And then they go, fucking yeah. And you're like, okay, well, it's my team. It's all I live for. It's where I was born. And the status of their success is something that I equate with my mental health. So I kind of need this. And they go, okay, yeah, well, will you do breakfast? And you're like, I'll see you in 5 minutes. That's how it goes. That is what a sports bar is, right? It is and we went there and it was amazing. Portland they don't have a team really. So it's Portland. So they had like everybody's team. They're like, everybody gets a trophy. Here you go. Yay, hockey. Go Baskets. Stuff like that. And they had a pride flag, which was also cool. I love that. Dude, gay fans? Are you kidding me? That's what sports needs. All right? We need just a little bit of horniness in the air too, because there's no chicks around. So let's just get some eyes kind of glancing down from the screens, giving me some like, oh, nice, I love the fit of your shirt kind of a vibe. All right? That's what you need. You need gay sports fans. We need fans who are fanning a little themselves. That's what we need. Okay? And free Jello shots as well, because I feel like $3 is a lot. Maybe I'm stingy, but if you go to the right college town, you're looking at 50 cents. You're looking at a time where it was like, holy shit, we racked up a tab tonight. Can we all pitch in for $28, please? Gosh. And let's all hop in one vehicle, the 40 of us, and I'll see you in class on Thursday. Man, I love a college town's Jello shot special. You get 5 for $1. And then meanwhile, in Portland, because they're trying to put their tax dollars to probably a good use, something with drugs and the unhoused situation, which is really nice. But I will not be doing it through alcohol-infused Jello. If you're gonna give me $3, if you're gonna give me a $3 pitch for your Jello, you better damn well make sure that there's not alcohol in there because I am a huge fan of just Jell-O. And so we're at this sports bar, and it was cool because there were all kinds of televisions happening, and we're watching sports. We're watching our teams. We're getting upset. I'm a Colts fan, and I thought I was upset. There are dudes who bet on the games. There's this guy who came in with like a deep open chest hair situation. Kind of like, all right, like it's not quite a yacht, but it's I mean, to the right poor person, it would look like it. But he's got like, and there's just lush hair, and he's, whatever, he's thinning in cool places where you're like, oh man, I'll bet that's stress related. But he's got like a lot of perfume, and then, he comes in and he's shorter than he thinks he is. And he's got like, there's no jersey. It's just a white button down, and it's pressed. And he's got, fucking slacks and socks that you can, like, they're up to his knees. And you're like, all right, is this a lot? I feel like, are you Irish? Why is this? And he's got like, still a little bit of gel on his ear. And, he's like, hey, he's the only dude with a umbrella in his drink. And you're like, okay, all right, this is very weird. There's a gay guy over there who's drinking an IPA. I don't know, why you're the fruitiest human being I've ever seen. And I know you're here to also try to look for chicks, you sleaze nut. And bro was getting stressed out. He was stressed. He was looking at his phone, like he was betting on, I don't know, dude. He was betting on the commercials. He's like, Aaron Rodgers fucking... No, it's fine. It's fine. I thought it would be a Mahomes one, but it's another Aaron Rodgers one. It's cool. That's all right. I just took the under on the Aaron Rodgers. No, it's fine. It's cool. No, State Farm they're a great company. They're viable. I gotta call my ex-wife. That kind of guy. That guy, like, just high stakes. The kind of guy who's got neck hair. And I guess I don't mind. I get it. We can't really see back there, so I get it. But neck hair is not fun to look at when it's standing up. When that hair on the back of a dude's neck is standing up, when you're like, damn. The situation just went from fertile to fervent very fast. Things are in the air, and they are ripe with trife. Ripe with trife. He was losing mad money. That's what I felt. So, speaking of, this episode was brought to you by FanDuel. Just kidding. But gambling could ruin people's lives. I grew up in Vegas, and I saw the empty looks of people's homes being escorted out of their buildings, out of the casinos. Yeah, I lost people lose their homes, literally. The floor manager backed a truck into the casino and was like, "Here's your house. Is this your house?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "It's ours now. Fuck piss." And they drove their house off of the casino floor with the help of that motorcycle that you could win if you play the jumbo slot. I just dropped my phone. Who gives a shit? This is a slippery Nana. Slippery Nana, or as I like to call it, elusive grandma. She never returns my calls. Anyway, guys, don't dump your lives out on FanDuel, all right? Just, okay, clean yourself up, but not too much. Button up just a little bit to where you see some chest hair, but not some of your stomach. Split the difference on how deep your V goes. It's starting to look more like an L, all right? Let's get it back to a V shape, all right? Or maybe even closer to a U. You know what I mean? That could be modest. So why don't we do that? Call your mom and be like, hey, I'm coming back home. and, start a real passion. You know what I mean? You don't need to buy another spoiler on your car. Do something else with your life. Get creative. Do a finger painting. Call your daughter. But I had loads of fun in Portland. So if you did come to see me out in Portland, that's the accent out there, thanks. I appreciate it. I shared a message on my social media just before I left where I was talking about why I left. And it was because of the depression. And the fact that I got back on stage on Thursday, which is the same day that I posted it. And I got a lot of people who said to me, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think you can spend time even leaning into talking about it, because I don't think enough people do. When I felt nervous, I felt like I was just letting people down. I put that on myself quite a bit. So the fact that I didn't, and the fact that people still came to see me, really means a lot. I mean it. And if you listen to this podcast and you're like, man, he's just all over the place, I can't really apologize, because I am learning that I am still worthy in whatever weird way to try and bring you joy. And so I hope it does. I am finding that we got to care a lot about each other in order to get through this very difficult life. The only way you can do it is together. If you see someone starting to get down or feel negative, or just call them out, man. Literally call them out in a way that doesn't need to be confrontational. It doesn't need to be a whole to-do. Just say, hey, man, I recognize this thing that's happening for you, or this mindset that you have. I've been there. But you know what? Let's just try to make this fun. Let's just try to make it fun. Let's try to make it not about ourselves. So I hope that helps, and I hope you guys have a great week. I love ya. I'll see you next week. But not at the bookstore. Don't you ever. Okay? Don't. It's my domain.
Have you ever had a dream that you hadn't to do so much you could do anything?